The evening had begun with smiles, laughter, and sparkling glasses. My son, Daniel, had just been promoted to partner at his law firm, and I had insisted on a small family celebration. Everything seemed perfect, the house glowing with warm light, the table set with crystal glasses, flowers from my mother's favorite shop, and our closest friends mingling in the living room. Yet, as I watched my daughter-in-law, Vanessa, gracefully float through the crowd, my instincts pricked. There was something too polished about her charm tonight, a perfection that felt rehearsed. Her smile was wide, her laughter just a little too bright. Even Daniel seemed caught in the orbit of her careful performance, not noticing the slight tension building around me. I had invited my oldest friends, my siblings, and a few neighbors who had watched our family grow. They brought their congratulations and stories of our shared past, but I couldn't shake the feeling that Vanessa's intentions were not just friendly. The evening's warmth was a fragile layer over an undercurrent I could sense but could not yet name. As I poured myself a glass of wine, Vanessa's eyes flicked toward the table and then toward mine. She lingered for a moment, almost imperceptibly, near my glass, adjusting her bracelet. The faintest twitch in her hand caught my attention, but I dismissed it as nerves. After all, this was supposed to be a happy evening. Then came the first sign. She asked Daniel to help her move some appetizers, and I noticed a subtle exchange, a tiny folded note passing from her hand into his coat pocket. My mind raced. What could she be plotting? As I forced a smile and joined the group in conversation, I reminded myself trust is earned, and tonight appearances could be deceiving. By dessert, my unease had grown into cautious vigilance. Vanessa had engaged every guest in small talk, complimenting their achievements and demonstrating an almost over-eager politeness. Yet every so often, I caught her glancing at my study, the wine cabinet, and the family safe. I excused myself under the pretense of fetching a special dessert from the kitchen, watching her movements from the hallway mirror. There it was, a small, discreet packet clutched in her hand. She adjusted her dress and approached the wine table. My pulse quickened. This wasn't about a celebration.
After the toast, Vanessa maneuvered to separate me from the group, offering to fetch a rare vintage wine from the cellar. I went along, all the while pretending to be impressed by her thoughtfulness. But in truth, I was observing every move, noting every step, every hesitation. Once in the hallway, I confronted her subtly. "Vanessa, can I ask why you're so focused on my wine tonight?" I asked lightly, masking suspicion with casual curiosity. Her laugh was too loud, too forced. "Oh, just making sure the toast is perfect. You know I want everything to be flawless." I nodded slowly, letting her believe she had fooled me. In reality, I had already anticipated the move and swapped the glasses. The packet she had tried to slip into mine now sat in her path of failure. This wasn't just a test of vigilance, it was a test of trust. And tonight, I would see exactly who my family really was, and who had intentions far darker than celebration. Returning to the main room, I watched Vanessa from a distance, observing the subtle ways she tried to draw attention to my wine. Guests remained oblivious. Daniel chatted, laughing with old friends, completely unaware of the storm beneath her wife's carefully curated charm. I stayed close enough to intervene if necessary, yet relaxed enough to avoid suspicion. My hands moved naturally, refilling glasses and guiding conversation, while every flicker of Vanessa's gaze toward the wine table was noted and catalogued. By now, I understood her goal. She wanted to isolate me, ensure no one could witness what she was about to do. But she had underestimated two things: the years I had spent reading human behavior and the subtle safeguards I had already put in place. When Vanessa reached for my glass with the intent to execute her plan, I smoothly stepped in, offering a toast to the group. In the motion, I swapped the glasses without anyone noticing. She paused, just long enough for me to see the frustration flare across her face. I smiled inwardly. The powder that could have caused disaster now lay dormant in the wrong glass, and I had time to plan the public exposure that would follow. I calmly gathered her missteps in my mind, noting the packet, the glances, the unnatural eagerness. This wasn't a hasty crime, it was a premeditated act. I had enough evidence now to protect my family, expose the betrayal, and ensure justice was served. The guests continued their conversation, unaware of the danger that had just passed inches from my lips.
As the evening reached its peak, I raised my glass for a formal toast. Vanessa's eyes fixed on mine, confident, expecting to witness the outcome of her scheme. "Everyone, I have something to share," I began, my voice calm but firm. "Not all intentions tonight have been what they seemed. Someone attempted to betray my family in this very room." Gasps and whispers spread instantly. Vanessa froze, color draining from her face. I recounted her subtle movements, the packet, and the glass swap. Daniel's shock turned to disbelief and then to horror as he realized the truth. Vanessa tried to deny it, to spin a story of innocence, but the evidence, the broken trust, the swapped glass, the witnesses, spoke louder than her words. Daniel looked at her, his face a mixture of confusion, anger, and hurt. "How could you?" he whispered. Her mask cracked completely. Guests watched in disbelief as the betrayal unfolded before their eyes. The illusion of a happy family gathering shattered. Vanessa was escorted out, her plan thwarted, her deceit exposed. Daniel remained by my side, shaken but grateful. Our family had been tested, and while betrayal had entered our home, it had been exposed before any real harm occurred. The evening resumed its celebration, tempered now by relief, vigilance, and the quiet satisfaction of justice. I toasted with my true family, friends, loyal relatives, and Daniel, grateful that quick thinking and careful observation had saved us from disaster. By the night's end, the lesson was clear. Loyalty, courage, and vigilance would always prevail over greed and deception.